What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Portugal's Ironworks. Today we're going to be working on a project. We're going to be doing a iron frame for a wood gate. They're going to be entering wood slats to it. Stay tuned. Now what we're going to do, we're going to start building that frame for that wood gate. It's going to be an iron frame. It's going to be the receiving post, and the post is going to be the side posts. They're going to be 3x3s. The framing of the door is going to be 1.5 by 1.5, and we're going to be using a flat bar 1 inch by 1/8 thickness to put around the framing of the door so the wood could sit flat on the flat bar. Let's get to it. Hey, but before we get to anything, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ricardo. I'm 26 years old. I like welding, I like fabricating, I like fabricating metal gates. If you're into that, stick around, hit the notification bell for upcoming videos, and yeah.
Alright, so right here what I'm doing, I'm just grabbing a rag, and I'm cleaning the material. I don't like working with greasy material. Once I clean it, it's way better, I mean, that's just how I do it. People work different ways. So what I'm doing now, I'm just measuring the square tubing. I'm gonna cut it to the right measurements. These, I believe these are the inside holes. I need 2, and we're gonna need 2. The ones that run vertical up. The side posts for the gate. This chop saw, it's been a really good, reliable machine. I got it from Amazon for about $170. I've had it for about 3 years now. Very reliable. It's been through hell. It's been through hot weather, cold weather. So what I'm doing now, I'm basically just clamping down the square tubing that we're going to be using for the frame. What I'm doing now, I'm just grabbing some scrap from the floor, taking off the slag. I'm going to attach it to my welding table, therefore I could extend. So my welding table could extend about 1.5 feet, I believe I needed to extend it. I do this when the gates are a little bigger than my welding table. I just like to extend it so I won't have to struggle, and it makes work a lot easier for me, and we get the job done faster. Like I said, there's people that work different ways. This is how I do it. I'm just teaching the guys that are new to this business. Right here what I'm doing, I'm just squaring it off, making sure it's nice and squared. Once it's nice and squared, I'm gonna go ahead and clamp it right here so it won't move. It's the same procedure for every gate. You gotta make sure that it's nice and squared. Tack it so it won't move, clamp it, come over here, get the square tubing that's gonna go on top, put it where it's supposed to go, just tack it so it won't move. Now we're gonna go to the other side, tack it as well. And once it's tagged, we're gonna make sure that it's nice and square with the tape measure. You measure from corner to corner, just to make sure we're on track. I'm sorry for the graphics. My camera is new. I try to get it in there, but You know, I'm barely getting the hang of it. Alright, so now what we're doing, we're unclamping the frame of the gate. We need to turn it around, therefore, so I could weld the other side since one side is already tacked. Well, this is how I do it. Some people don't move it at all till everything's assembled, but I like to do it this way. You know, it's just my ways of working. This is how I was taught. This is how I'm teaching you guys. So now what we're gonna do, we're just gonna weld all 4 corners. You gotta make sure everything's nice and welded so it won't get out of, because we already squared it and you don't want it to get unsquared, you know, and move in. So you want to make sure everything's nice and welded. Okay, now that everything's nice and welded, now you want to go ahead and grab the grinder. Right here we're using a flat disc. That's what we're using to grind down the corners with the flat disc. You know, these discs they're very reliable. You know, what we're doing now, we're just measuring exactly where the lock box is gonna go. This is a double lock box. As you can see, it has 2 holes. Double lock box, 1.5 inch width to go with the 1.5 inch square tubing frame. Now you don't want to cut all the way through. You want to cut a little bit because you're gonna weld this square tubing right to where the lock box will go. The reason we're doing this is because you don't want the framing of the door to move, and once you cut, well, eventually it's gonna move. So that's why we want to do this, so it could stay on place. And eventually you can't cut if the pole is there first. So that's why we cut it, then we put the pole. And now that the pole's installed, now you want to cut it all the way. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna unclamp it, flip it over, because you do not want to cut all the way straight. I mean, because not all the time it comes out perfect. Sometimes a grinding disc goes sideways and you're gonna have a big gap on the other side, and you're gonna have to cover that up with a filler rod, and you don't want to go through all that. So it's better off to just flip the gate over and finish cutting it off with the grinding wheel, so you can have a nice even cut. So now that we've seen that it fits perfect, now you just want to tack it on one side. Once we tack it on this side, we're gonna flip it over and weld the other side. Now that it's flipped over, we're gonna weld it off. The reason you do this is because you do not want to weld the other side first, because it's gonna move the framing out of place. The square frame is gonna move it out of place. There's a way to fix that, but you don't want to go through that. But in this video, you're gonna see right there, that's my mistake. That right there, guys, I should have never done. I cut it. I should have not cut it yet. I should have flipped it over first, then weld the other side, and then cut it. That was my mistake, but it's okay. You know, you do mistakes, you learn from them. But here, what I'm doing, I'm just grabbing a flat disc to kind of smooth out where I welded it. You know, you don't want to turn in a project like that. Okay, so basically right here what I did, I just flipped the gate over. I'm gonna clamp it again, and like I said, I messed up. I should have not taken out the square tubing that I welded to the gate, because now what I'm gonna do right here, I'm gonna weld it, and right here, look, check it out, right there, you seen that? How I bend it down? That right there was because I took off that square tubing. If I had never taken it off, that would have never happened. So now, right now, once I'm done welding, we're gonna step on the gate a little bit and get it back into place. It's nothing big, you know. something fixable, you know. It's nothing that we cannot fix. So now what I'm doing, since I flipped it over, now I'm welding all 4 corners on this side now. Same procedure. And we're gonna grind down the corners as well right now. So what I'm gonna do here, like I said, I took off that square tubing. It kind of got it out of place. So what I'm doing here, I'm kind of trying to push it down with the clamps, you know, trying to put it back into place. But unfortunately, that did not work. So what we're about to do, we're gonna get it off the welding table. We're gonna take it into the dirt, the grass, and we're gonna kind of step on the gate a little bit. You don't want to step on it too hard because then you could break it and mess the whole thing up. You kind of just want to step on it, you know. Depending, you will see how much you will have to step on it. Now look at this, nice and straight. That's how you want your gate to be, you guys, because at the end of the day, once you install it, it's not going to be nice and even with the receiving post.
Guys, so we already got the framing done. We already welded all the corners. Now we just got to smooth them out, grind them down. The lock box, we already put it on, as you guys seen. It was a little crooked, but we managed to straighten it out. That's the important thing. So once it closes to the receiving post, it could be nice and flat from top to bottom. So now what we're gonna do, we're just gonna add the 1-inch flat bar all around. And this is basically the thickness of the wood that he's gonna be using to, because we're not gonna be doing the wood, we're just doing the frame. This is basically the thickness of the wood that he's gonna be using for this door, but he don't want the wood to be aligned with the steel. He wants the wood to be in there about 1/8 of an inch. So that's why we got the flat bar right here. That's what's gonna guide us, so everything could be nice and perfect. Another thing, the flat bar, he doesn't want it to be seen from the outside view. He wants the flat bar to be behind the wood.
So what I'm doing here, I'm just measuring how big the flat bars are going to be. Remember, we're going to be using a flat bar all around for the wood slats to lay flat on them. This is a 1-inch flat bar, 1/8 thickness. You can also use a 5/8 picket to put around the framing of the door. So you can also put the flat bar to lean against the 5/8 picket. But the customer wanted me to use a flat bar. What I'm doing here, I'm just kind of guiding myself with the wood slat and welding the flat bar into place. You know, every customer is different. The customer wanted me to use it and kind of guide myself to see from the front view. He don't want the wood aligned with the iron frame. You know, people are different choices. That's what we do. We customize the gates. We don't mind doing it at all. You know that little Miko welding machine that you see right there? I've been having that thing for quite a while already. I believe I'm going on 3 years with it. Boy, that little machine right there, it's built so many things already. You know, I highly recommend it. If you guys want to go on Amazon and order it, Amico, AMICO, Amico stick welder, very reliable. I have my Lincoln tombstone welder, but that welder, it's a little heavy, so I carry around my Amico welder, you know. So right here, what I'm doing, I'm just measuring how big the flat bars are gonna be, top and bottom. I take it over to the chop saw, measuring it down. Now what I'm doing, I'm cutting it down with the DeWalt chop saw, taking off the slag. You know, you always want to take off the slag every time you finish your cut. The reason you want to take off the slag is because you don't want a customer or somebody else or you yourself to end up with a cut in your hand. So right here, what I'm doing, I'm just tacking the 1-inch flat bar to the other flat bar that I put. Same procedure, you know, just guiding myself with the wood slat. Now I'm gonna take it over to the top, same procedure. Weld it to the 1-inch flat bar. Same thing on the other side. Weld it to the 1-inch flat bar. Guide myself with the wood slat. Every 9, 8 inches, 7 inches, you tack it. Give it a nice tack so it won't break off. So what I'm doing now, I'm measuring the center, because we're gonna have a 1-inch flat bar as well in the center. It's more support for the wood slats that the customer will be putting on the gate. Unfortunately, we will be putting on the wood slats. He didn't want us to put the wood slats. He wanted us to do it himself to save himself some money. So right here, what we're doing, we're grabbing the center. You know, you always want to put it in the center unless you're gonna put 2. Same thing on the top, grabbing the center. You want it to be right in the middle. Should clip nice. Changing your rod. Right here, I'm using a 6013 rod. I really like that rod for ornamental iron gates. They're really like, they penetrate good, but they don't, I mean, they just run so smooth, you know. I don't even know how to explain myself. 6013 rod, 3/32 for my little Mico welder machine. Right here, what I'm using a 110 volt. I'm using power from the garage, you know. Eventually, when I go out to the field, I use my generator. I use my welder, my Lincoln welder. But right now,
all right, guys. So you guys already seen how we did the framing of the door. You guys already seen how we put the double lock box. You guys already seen how we put the 1-inch flat bar all around. The 1-inch flat bar around is for the wood to lay flat on it. And well, right now what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a little break. We're gonna go get some lunch, come back, put on the hinges, and yeah, we're basically done with it, you know.
so we're back at the shop. So what we're doing now, we're basically measuring where the hinges are gonna go. And you always wanna make sure they're nice and stable. You gotta weld them good, weld them all around. This is what's gonna be holding your gate to the pole, so you want to give it some good beads. Now that they're tagged, I'm gonna go ahead and weld them all around, all 3 of them. I like to give each one 3 welds, one at the top, one at the bottom, one on the side, some good beads, so you know they could have a nice stable door for quite a while. So we're gonna be using a 3x3 16 gauge square tubing post for the receiving post and for the post that's gonna be connected to your gate. We're basically already done, you know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is how you make an iron frame. Now all you have to do is just put the wood in there. One day eventually I will make a video on how to enter the wood and how to stain the wood and how to do all this cool stuff, you know, how to burn the wood. But for now, this is what the customer ordered. I figured I'll just do a quick video about it and to teach all my beginners how to weld and how to build the iron frame. What we're doing now, we're using the flat disc to grind down all the corners. You want to make sure that this thing is nice and smooth when you return it to the customer. Here you have Louis, he's like my cousin. He helps me out a lot when it comes to installing. It's always good to have somebody helping you out, you know. I would have had to go get that chip and hammer, bend under the table and do all that. Oh, good thing he was at the right place at the right time. But yeah, shout out to Louis. What's up, Louis? You know, you're a great guy. I appreciate you guys, you know.
Alright guys, so we basically already finished the door, the gate. This is a 3x3 16 gauge. This is the framing is 1.5 square tubing, and the flat bar, it's a 1-inch flat bar by 1/8 thickness. You got your double lock box over there. You got your double lock box. And yeah guys, this is how you fabricate iron gate for wood slats. Now all you got to do is just put the wood and screw it on. That's what the guy's gonna do. He didn't want me to put the wood myself because it is a little bit more money. He said he could do it himself, but usually how I do it, I just put the wood and I put more flat bar in the back to keep it in place. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for upcoming videos.